Black people. I had my first day today at a new job, and basically, without going too far into it, my job is to schedule care for people that need it. A lot of this job is going through applications for people who want to give care. I learned today, if it is a name that does not sound white, we are to move it to the completed tasks. We then note your application as moved due to name standards. Now, it's my first day, so I ask, what does that mean? I'm black, I'm very light-skinned, obviously. And she says, And I said, you mean like our names? Like our names? Because I thought it was like a brand standard, like, no, it's literally our names. So I just want you to know, and everybody else to know, this 100% happens, and I have 122 screenshots of people, their names, their phone numbers, and their email addresses, and the reason why they weren't hired directly because of their name. Then I have this. I didn't even make it 1 hour. After I got my heart rate to stop spiking, I went and found the owner like I planned and asked her directly, super calm. She didn't deny any of it. She admitted that it's, fucked up. She apologized. I told her that I don't think this is going to be a good fit because this is not something that I would be willing to participate in. I made sure to keep it like professional and not scary, like not threatening. So I have a phone call with my guy later this afternoon. I'm gonna go ahead and let him tell me how to proceed. I know that this happens. It's just that I personally have never experienced this type of training. If they have a name that sounds like this or that's jacked up, we don't do it because we have standards. Like, guess we're going on a journey, and eventually we're gonna say who it is.
So this is going to be a little story time about the racism that I experienced in Kansas City, in the workplace, and why, quite frankly, I don't want to live in Kansas City anymore. This is going to be a long story, so it's probably going to be like, I don't know how many parts, but we're going to have parts to this because I want to tell it thoroughly, and I don't want to cut any corners. And the purpose of me telling the story is because I want to be free. Like, there's so much trauma. This has really affected my life. This has impacted me mentally, socially, emotionally, and physically. And so we're gonna just get right into it. Also, I'm gonna try to tell this story in the most organized and linear fashion, but can't make any promises. I want to give details and be clear as possible, but it's hard when, you've gone through these types of things to kind of even articulate yourself. So I'm going to do the best that I can. So for a little context for those who aren't from Kansas City, just know that Kansas City is a predominantly white city. And so a lot of times in cities like Kansas City, there is a crab in the barrel mentality. There are a lot of Black people, the small population of Black people who, just are a part of the problem too. Like, they help perpetuate the racism. And so
Hello brothers and sisters, welcome back to the channel. I'm hoping that you are doing great from wherever you're watching this video from. Again, I'm your host and presenter Ejirek Stories. This is another day, another time to remind you that racism still exists and it's embedded in the United States fabric, in everything that you do. The skin color that you have really affects you, whether you're going to get certain services or whether you're not going to get certain services. This is something that has been proved for the longest time. Perfect case scenario, because I've been trying to debate, or I've been trying to counter those people that usually argue that, racism is something that ended long time ago and it doesn't exist. Those people who are complaining about racism, they just need to get a work. They just need to, you know, find something to do and stop complaining about the things that are happening. Well, I have a message for you. There's something that is going on and people are getting to confess about it. And the issue is, we have always been talking about discrimination in workplaces. Yesterday, I did a video in relation to that. Today, I'm also doing a video in relation to this. But now this comes from a different perspective. Today's video features a lady that talked about how she had to quit job because she was told not to give jobs to people who had names that sounded black. Well, you heard me right. Names that sounded black. That tells you a lot. That should also reveal to you something that you should know about the United States. And we are getting to see that happen. And so, brothers and sisters, while some folks argue that racism doesn't exist, racism still exists. And black folks have to deal with everything. We might have to deal with a lot of difficult things. Because they're those things that we just talk about them, but on the ground things are different. Black Americans sometimes are grappling with challenges that are way much worse than what we talk to you or what we show you on social media. For example, a person being ordered not to give work to black people if they sounded black. So that tells you a lot of things. That reveals a lot of things. That reveals the hate. That reveals the fear that is within these groups of people. And we are all getting to see the truth. Because when somebody argues that racism ended a long time ago, please just show them this video. Because it exists. This is part of racial discrimination. It is a racial discrimination in workplaces. Brothers and sisters, I want us to watch this video. I'll be back and then I'll be giving my 2 cents in regards to this. If you're watching me for the first time, I'm asking you to please subscribe to the channel, join the membership, and really get to see what I can offer you. But until then, let's watch the video. I'll be back.
It was for a long time a person who did not know that Kansas City was a predominantly white city because I was in a bubble. And so some people watching this, you may not know that Kansas City is a predominantly white city, but all you got to do is do a quick Google search to see the numbers to see, because you're probably just, because there's predominantly black neighborhoods and stuff in Kansas City, which I grew up in. But when you don't come out of that bubble, you won't see that what the city truly is. And so, yeah, so it's a small pool of black people, right? And out of that small pool of black people, there's an even smaller pool of professional black people. So in my line of work and what I do, the average person that I am competing up against for a job is not another black person. It's oftentimes a white person. So for the past few years, I've been in the advertising industry. So I've done, a range of things, but we can just kind of categorize it as like comms, communications. So I've done public relations, marketing, account management, SEO even, and even a little bit of social media. I've done a lot of things in my career, but that's for the past 4 years, the space that I've been in. So my first big job was, when I got into this space, was at a global advertising agency that is like the Yale or Harvard of advertising agencies. So obviously, I was super excited to get this role. There were people, congratulating me, telling me that they had been trying to get into this agency for years and they had more experience than me, and were even like, white people. So I think it was just the favor of God that I was able to get in the door. And one of the things that they stand by is that they hire the best talent. So, me getting in the door was just I think it was just nothing but favor from God. Even though I went through what I went through, I still consider it to be a blessing, because I did gain a lot of valuable skill sets there. And then also, I was able to put that experience on my resume. So, even though I went through what I went through, I still am looking at the glass half full with the situation. So boom, I get in the door. I start out in a senior account manager role, and I really wanted to get into public relations. So when the door opened for me to get into a PR role, I took it. And so when I transitioned into this PR role, I noticed almost immediately that my direct report, which was a Caucasian woman, that she didn't like me. And I knew she didn't like me because, one, I can feel it. I'm a very intuitive and I am very discerning. I can discern pretty easily. But the tangibles were there, the evidence was there in the natural, which was, she wasn't very friendly. When they did do the welcome, like most companies, when they're onboarding a new employee, they kind of do like a round table of everybody introducing themselves, and then you kind of telling about yourself. And when we did that, she just wasn't very welcoming. She didn't seem very enthusiastic like the others did on the team, and didn't tell me that she was excited to have me on the team like everybody else did. So that was my first kind of nudge in my spirit that yeah, this woman is going to be a problem. But I still kind of just had an optimistic, perspective, and just kind of bypassed it and just kept moving and just remained professional. So from that moment up until the first big thing, there was a lot of micromanagement. I would have deadlines for projects, and before those deadlines, she would harass me a lot on Teams, asking me when is it going to be done, where am I at in the project. And so it got to a point where I had to just tell her hey, if I have an issue or if I need your help, I'll let you know, because what she was doing was taking me off course. She was throwing me off and distracting me. And when she would do that, and so, it would be times where it was times where I just ignored her. I'll get back to her when I can, because I don't want to break my focus. And the times that I did do that, she was very confrontational. And I remember a time where she was mad that I didn't respond to her in a certain time frame. And I remember this time frame, it was under 30 minutes for sure. And she was like, hey, you need to respond to me quicker. Again, this woman was very rude, very unprofessional, didn't know how to talk to people, or I'll just say me, because I don't know what her experience was with other people. Well, I did know, and it was more pleasant when she talked to them versus me. So, but yeah, so constantly harassing me, micromanaging me. And so the next thing that happened after that, which was, I consider the first big occurrence, was, so I got my wisdom tooth extracted, and I assumed that this time was going to go how it did last time, which last time it was a pretty smooth process and a quick recovery. I think it was no more than 2 or 3 days, I was ready to go back to work. So I assumed that this was going to be the same situation, but it wasn't. And the reason it wasn't was because of the medication that I was prescribed by the doctor. The pain medication had some adverse effects, and I didn't know that initially. So I let my boss know when it was time for me to come back, hey, I'm still not feeling well, but I'm still going to come to work, because I was trying to prove myself. You know, I was still kind of new to the team, and I already seen, you know, her behavior and what type of person she was. And I just didn't want to give her a reason to continue to harass me.
Real quick, let me tell y'all about the time I applied for a job and didn't get the job because the wife said, absolutely not, you will not be around my husband. So I applied to be a nanny for a special needs child. That is my specialty. I work with kids with autism, Down syndrome, cerebral palsy, all that type of jazz. Particular job I was applying for was in a home for a family. So not through an agency, not through any type of like contracting. This is something I went and found on my own. I was invited in for an interview, and so I interviewed with the wife. Everything seemed fine with the interview. It was also a trial type of thing to see how you do with the kid, and it was paid. So we had to spend the day with the kid doing activities, interacting, seeing how we respond to each other. That was great because I am great with kids. Wife is asking me questions, my qualifications, my interests, those things. The husband comes in. He does a double take or whatever. Like, I could notice the attraction, like his attraction towards me. I'm a grown woman. Like, I can kind of tell when somebody is attracted to me. Kind of, not always, but this was very obvious. And then I say it was very obvious because the wife also noticed it. So obviously she didn't say anything at that moment, but we continued doing the interview process with me still with the kid. We're talking, but the thing that was different was the husband then decided to insert himself into the process as well. So he's also asking me questions, also engaging with me, just making himself noticed. The wife is not doing anything like abrupt to like make it known that she doesn't like this, but I'm a woman, I can sense a little bit, but I'm thinking it's more so towards like the husband. Like, I'm not thinking she having ill will towards me. It's just like, I feel like, you know, in that moment I was just like, she's probably gonna have a talk with him when I leave. So the end of the day, I was only there like maybe like 4 hours altogether. She's talking, she's like, I really, really like you. You were the last girl that we are interviewing, and I like the way you're with our child. Like, she likes you, she's speaking to you, something she didn't do with the other applicants, but I can't hire you. And I was like, what, girl? Is it because I'm black? Mind you, they're black. I'm like, it's because I'm black, huh? She was like, no, my husband is attracted to you and I just can't have you in my house. I said, what? You think that I would do something with your husband? Goes on to say, like, even if you have morals or whatever the case may be, my husband is an attractive man. He's he's doing well for himself. And I can tell he's attracted to you, 1. And 2, I know if he's attracted to you, he's going to turn on the charm, and he's, you know, generous as well. I know this because he's generous with me. And I guess they also may have had something in the past where she, you know, she knows how he gets down, how he operates. And she's just like, even with you having morals and standards and all that type of stuff, you're not going to turn down no handsome man with some money that's offering it to give it to you. Like, I just don't think that that's happening. You're too young, you're too pretty. I don't see that happening. And I wasn't even mad. Like, I just had to respect her being honest and not even just having me come in and then being a weird bitch to me. Like, she was just straight up like, nah, I'ma go the other direction. But I want to say you were great, and if this was any other type of situation, I would definitely hire you. So I was just like, well, girl, can you give me a reference at the very least?
Yeah, I don't have nothing against Houston, but when I leave from Houston, I'm never coming back to Houston. I'm never, capital never, coming back here to live here ever again. And the reason why I say that is because the job market, if I would have known that this job market in Houston, Texas is trash, horrible, depleted, I would have never came here. I would have been asking and praying and begging God to send me somewhere else where it's more job opportunities. Because I'm realizing in Houston, you have to know somebody to get into a job. Or you have to be a business person. You have to have your own business. Or you got to be an entrepreneur. Everybody is not cut out to be an entrepreneur or have a business. People are out here working, trying to get a regular job. Somebody like me. When I tell y'all, it's been so hard to get a job. It's been so, y'all, the basic place, McDonald's won't even hire me. McDonald's would not even hire me, y'all. Walmart, the Walmart that's by my house, I applied to Walmart for 3 times. I applied to Walmart. Didn't want to hire me. And I'm just like, wait, these are basic jobs. Y'all, Amazon, for some reason, Amazon is never hiring in Houston. I keep checking Amazon. Nothing is popping up for Houston for Amazon, right? Okay, warehouse jobs. I can't even get a warehouse job because they like, if you don't got the certain skills or experience, you can't get, like, y'all. And this video is not to discourage anybody that's planning on moving to Texas or to Houston. But if you move here, make sure that you gotta, like, you about to start up a business, or you already got a business, or you are entrepreneur, because this is what Houston is about. It's about connections, meeting people, putting yourself out there. It's no good job opportunities out here. Like, it's and I'm trying not to get irritated. I'm trying to stay positive. But when I was living back in Florida, y'all, this was like during the pandemic. I know times changed, but during the pandemic, I was working this job. I was making $11 an hour. I had my first apartment. My rent for that apartment was $700 every month. I was able to make my rent off $11 an hour every 2 weeks and pay my light bill, pay for groceries, get my hair done. But it's like, here in Houston, it's like I'm struggling. And I'm like, oh Lord, like, I never experienced, this is like a whole different type. Maybe because the economy changed, but this is very frustrating for me. Very frustrating. Like, when I think about the situation, I'm like, I might have well just stayed in Florida. Like, I could have, made it work down there, but it's like I came here because I wanted a fresh start. But I didn't know that the job market was this bad. I really did not know that. And I'm trying to find work in the middle of me about to be homeless. I'm trying to look for work. And it's just like, yeah, if I can get out of Houston, I'm not coming back here. I'll probably come back here to visit for a few days, but baby, I cannot live here. So if you coming to Houston, make sure you got things already planned out for you, because this job market here, I don't recommend it. You know it's bad when you got to apply to a different Amazon in a different state. Y'all, I had to apply to an Amazon job in a whole nother state just so I could get money, just so I can have money, because it ain't no job opportunities out here in Houston, personally, for me. And I know that I'm not the only one in Houston who's experiencing this and who's feeling this, but it's just like, if you got to go to another state for another job opportunity while you're in your state, it's bad, baby. It's bad. I gotta go.
I am compelled to make a video about an experience I've had multiple times this week, because it's just a reminder that discrimination is very, very real. And I'm not going to be dealing with the people of, the clear delegation telling me in the comments about, oh, it's in your head and blah, blah, blah. I'm not talking to y'all. Once again, I know that y'all have a coalition of that you are a part of, that you are the gaslighters of of the world. So I don't care about like whatever people want to say about it not being real. Now that that's out of the way, so I've had a few job hits this week.
Actually, I had a few, it started last week. I had a few recruiters reach out to me. The job market has been pretty dry for most people. And then there's a lot of conversation about how it's affected Black people and Black women specifically. You know, the numbers are there. Google the data, wherever you get your data from, as long as it's accurate, it's going to reflect what I'm saying. So whether or not you agree with me as a person with the POV and lived experience, data literally correlates what I'm saying. So anyway, supports what I'm saying. So within the last 2 weeks, I removed my picture from my LinkedIn profile. And let me tell you how I don't know why, but my profile views, I don't know how that's correlated. But my recruiter outreach has increased. I'm not good with numbers. I'm a comms major. Whatever the percentage is from going from 0 to 3 to 4 within a week, maybe 2 weeks. It was quiet the first week that I changed it. And then week 2, it was back to back to back that I was getting outreach. And I was thinking, oh, maybe it could be the time of the year. Maybe people have a better idea of their budget, whatever the case is. So that's one explanation. Fine. But I'm making this video because of an experience I had with a very particular job, and a third job this week that's kind of asking the same thing. And also, again, it has a similar flavor to it. So I'm going to call these jobs job A and B and C. So job A, recruiter reaches out to me and we have the recruiter screen. And after the recruiter screen, the recruiter for job A is like, hey, can we also do a video screen? But it's still a recruiter screen, right? So I was like, oh, sure. And I kind of didn't think anything of it because it's a contractor role. So it was phone screen, recruiter screen on video, I guess. And then a meeting with the hiring manager and then a presentation. That was going to be the full spectrum of it. So I had the recruiter video screen follow up pretty soon after the initial screening for job A. And all was going well and everything like that. And then I didn't hear anything the next day, which usually to me, I'm like, okay, usually, if you're moving forward pretty fast these days. So I kind of thought I didn't get it. And they were hiring for multiple positions for the same role at job A. So I kind of felt even better about job A because I'm like, well, I am going to be one of 4 people they're hiring if they hired me. If I qualify, of course. They actually had specific parameters such as AI experience, using AI tooling, rolling it out. That's a very niche thing, especially with where we are with AI right now. So to have a candidate that does what I do with AI experience is just very niche right now. It would be hard to find someone who didn't have my experience. And I just want to say, I have a 4-year degree from a prestigious university and over 10 years of experience in my field, as well as subsidiary fields that are very popular associated with my field. My field doesn't actually even matter. Every field right now is oversaturated, it feels like, unless you're a doctor or something like that. So anyway, they came back and said that the client got a different staffing agency, basically, because this is a staffing agency recruiter reaching out to me. The client came back and basically placed a candidate from another staffing agency instead. And I was like, okay. I mean, that's fine if I didn't get the job, but I wasn't under the impression that there was just one person being hired. I thought there were multiple people being hired for the same role, but I just kind of let it go because I'm like, okay, the feedback was just the client went another way. Fine. I've had plenty of rejections in this job market, so I'm cool with that. But this is why I'm telling the story. So I had a job B recruiter reached out to me about a day or two after job A, kind of almost in tandem. I was scheduled to meet with job B before I had my second follow-up video interview with job A. So pretty much the same day, that I get the email from job A denying me, I have the interview with job B. Guess which job B is interviewing me for? Did you guess job A? If you did, you're correct. It was literally the same company as job A. Same company, same exact role. So I'm like, okay. My impression was correct that they're hiring more than one person for this job. because they're still using another staffing agency to place for this job. But after my video interview, which was weird because it was literally a logistics call, nothing else happened on that call, like no more questions about my experience. It was like a completely unnecessary call, pretty much. It was a weird call to have a follow-up on. She was like kind of fake confirming other things we talked about on our initial phone screener. And I just felt like it was weird that she was asking me that. And then I'm like, after the video screener, I didn't get the job. And then when someone else is looking at my qualifications from another staffing agency for the exact same company, a second recruiter from another staffing agency agrees that I qualify for this role. Okay, we're getting warmer. Job C is why I'm making this video, because I'm like, what's going on? And I'm not going to draw any conclusions. I'm just going to leave the facts here and let the audience come to the conclusion of why you think this might be happening. Because the proof is in experience, like lived experience. So job C, another recruiter reaches out to me, not for the same job. That was job A and B. The recruiter reaches out to me and she wants to move forward with my profile or whatever, my candidate profile for this job, right? And she's asking me to update my photo on LinkedIn. Now, I already said at the beginning of this, I removed my photo on LinkedIn for a specific reason. I've had my LinkedIn photo since I've had LinkedIn. I know how to build out a social profile. That was literally my whole job, doing brand management and social media. I know how to build out a profile. So I removed it recently, as I said, on purpose. And she was pressing about this photo, this LinkedIn photo. And she also asked me to submit a photo for like the internal candidate profile. This was to prevent candidate fraud, which that one makes more sense because she said that one doesn't go out to the client, but that I should update my LinkedIn photo because that's where clients go and it, completes my profile. And I told her, I purposely removed my profile photo recently and I've had more outreach as a result. I didn't really say anything else. And I know that maybe you shouldn't say things like that, but honestly, if she doesn't want to work with me, I don't care. I'm so over this job market. Like, okay, you don't respect that I don't have a photo. I don't care. Goodbye. Like, focus on my skills. I'm a great worker. My experience proves it, but I'm not doing this song and dance. And I'm also not going to be discriminated against because you found out that I was Black. Sorry, I guess I said the thing that I wasn't supposed to say, that I wanted you to draw your own conclusion about. But yeah, it just makes you say, because we're like gaslit out of these experiences, right? Because it's like, it could be anything, maybe the candidate was placed and they realized they didn't need, it could be anything, can't it? But I'm not going to, make myself do the mental gymnastics to ignore the fact that, like, that's a really weird thing that happened. And if it weren't for the fact that job C was pressing me about this photo situation, I would have, let the job A and B situation go. But I'm just like, what's everyone's obsession with knowing what I look like? I'm a bad bitch, okay? That's all you need to know.